The first step in the define phase is to form the project team that consists of sponsor, champion, project lead, etc. Next, we gather VOS, the voice of stakeholders. During this stage, we collect the inputs from the stakeholders and through other methods. After collecting the inputs, we try to analyze them and identify the inputs into improvement needs. From the list of improvement needs, we finalize one initiative. In other words, we finalize a Lean Six Sigma project. For that project, we make the project charter, which clearly describes the problem, goal, project's scope, etc. At the time of team formation, if a project is already identified and assigned by the top management, we may proceed directly to the project charter activity.
Let's look at the first step of define phase, forming the project team. The sponsor, champion, project lead, and the project mentor should be nominated at the beginning of the define phase. After we collected various inputs from stakeholders, we need to analyze the inputs and translate the inputs into improvement needs. There are two tools, the Affinity diagram and Kano analysis, that help us do this translation of inputs into improvement needs. Let's understand the details of each tool now. Let's look at an example on how we can use the Affinity diagram approach to translate the inputs to improvement needs. The following are the inputs received from a client of an IT organization. These inputs are related to a support project. In this context, Affinity refers to grouping of related inputs into one category. So the following inputs convey the need that the responsiveness of support team must be improved. These three inputs convey the need that the competence of support team should be improved. This set of inputs talk about the need to improve the communication skills of support team. And the last three inputs talk about the need to improve the data security in support project. Affinity diagram can be depicted using any documentation tool, such as MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You don't need any specific template for this.
Some of us may have this question. Do we need to apply all the tools and techniques that we learned in this session for a given project? No need to apply all the tools and techniques. Just a couple of tools may be sufficient for a given project. For example, inputs from senior management, focus group discussions, and Affinity diagram may be sufficient for one project. For another project scenario, input from internal surveys, competitive comparison, and Kano analysis may be sufficient. For another project's context, inputs from external customers, inputs from suggestion box, and SIPOC may be sufficient. In the previous session, that is part 1 of Define module, we have seen the team formation and assigning the responsibilities. We have learned many techniques to gather voice of stakeholders. We understood how to identify the needs from the inputs and how to finalize a Lean Six Sigma project. In this session, we will see how to define the problem, goal, scope, and other components of the project charter.
A project charter is an executive summary document which clearly describes all the details about the Lean Six Sigma project. The project charter has following components: problem statement, goal statement, scope of the project, business case for the project milestones, and the team structure for the Lean Six Sigma project. We will understand each component in detail now. The first component of the project charter is the problem statement. The problem statement should mention what is wrong or what outcome is not satisfactory. It should have a clear description of the problem or concern. The issue that is mentioned in the problem statement should be a verifiable or measurable fact. It should not be a guess or an assumption. For example, when we say the design defects are high or customer satisfaction is low, they are clearly measurable parameters. The problem statement should mention the specifics on when and where the problem is happening. This adds more clarity to the problem. For example, our issue is poor customer satisfaction, particularly in USA. The problem should be quantified to indicate the magnitude of the problem. For example, we may say the customer satisfaction is currently at 45% for USA customers. A brief description of the impact or consequences of the problem should be mentioned in the problem statement. For example, we may say, poor customer satisfaction is hampering repeat business and revenues. It is important to be aware of some of the mistakes that we usually make while writing the problem statement. We should not mention the assumed root causes in the problem statement. Have a look at this example. This statement clearly mentions the assumed root causes. We should avoid indicating the assumed solution in the problem statement. Have a look at this example. Clearly, this problem statement indicates the assumed solution to the problem. These mistakes, such as including the assumed root causes and the solutions, make the problem statement biased. The problem statement should focus only on the problem, not on the causes or solutions. The real root causes are identified in Analyze phase, and the real solutions to the problem are identified in Improve phase. Let's look at an example of an incorrect problem statement. Read this problem statement and try to identify the mistakes in it. Following are the mistakes in this problem statement. There is no clarity on the exact measurable issue. This problem statement indicates the assumed root causes and solutions, and the problem is not quantified. The following is the correct way of writing the same problem statement. Read the statement and try to notice the corrections. In this problem statement, there is clarity on the exact measurable issue, which is the schedule adherence of testing phase completion. The problem statement talks about only the problem. Assumed root causes or solutions are not mixed up in the statement, and the problem is clearly quantified. This is how a problem statement should be articulated.
You may use this template to document the project charter of a Lean Six Sigma project. This is one of the many ready-to-use tools and templates that were provided to you. Let's look at the template for Project Charter. Here is the first slide of Project Charter template. There are placeholders to write problem statement, goal statement, scope statement, business case, and the project timelines. There are clear instructions to help you write the Project Charter components correctly. The next slide has the placeholder to capture the details of team structure for the project. You can mention the names against each role of the project. And finally, you have a placeholder for estimated cost-benefit details. This is optional. You may fill this in if it is required for your project.
Let's do an exercise on Project Charter. Here is the exercise. Please select an improvement area of your choice. By using the Project Charter template, document the following components of Project Charter for the selected improvement area: problem statement, goal statement, project scope, and the business case. You may pause here to do this exercise and resume this video after you are done.